and passed the hat around to people as they put money in. I'm 5 pounds sorry is a way of saying, I feel something because of your plight. And I'm willing to dig into my own resource and make a difference in your condition. That's an act of mercy. The mercy that God calls us to exercise involves both feeling and action. It calls us to sense inside that there's something that needs to be done, and for us to take what we have or what we know or what we can do and put it in the service of someone else. Now, I'm not suggesting that we have to fix all things or address all people. Think about the story of the Good Samaritan. It doesn't say that he stopped every time he saw any problem. What we know is he stopped this time. And the story doesn't say that he said to the innkeeper, now keep him here. And when I come back later, not only will I reimburse you, but I'm going to take him with me, and I'm going to set him up in the kind of business that doesn't require traveling on this dangerous road, or at least get him the sense to travel in a group. What he did was use what he had. He came to a place where someone was in need, and he took what he had. Wine and oil, a bandage, his donkey, his coins. He took the resource that was available to him and he put it in the service of someone else. Our job is not to save the world. That's Jesus' job. Our job is to take what we have and what we know and what we can do and find ways to employ those things to make real difference in the lives of other people. We read the Scripture and it's clear to us that God is love. And we're called to be God's ambassadors. That means we're supposed to look at the creation around us through the eyes of a compassionate God. And we're supposed to look for opportunities to do for someone else what God has done for us. To, through the work of our hands and the action of our lives, say to someone else, what happens to you makes a difference to me. We're supposed to do for someone else what we can do with the resources that we have. We're supposed to use the capabilities that are available to us and make a real difference in the world. And some of life's most joyful serendipities happen when we let go of the fear that keeps us from engaging others and follow the word of our faith and do real good in the world. We practice acts of kindness and hospitality. We leave ourselves open to those in need around us. You can make a manna bag. You know what a manna bag is? You take a gallon Ziploc bag and you put in it a pair of clean socks and a granola bar and some water and some hand sanitizer and whatever else will keep, and you just keep it in your car. And when you feel prompted by someone who's in need on the street, make a manna bag and give it to them. Make a place for somebody else in traffic. But do more than that. Be mindful of the people who are in the circle of your ongoing care. Is there somebody in your Sunday school community who's going through a crisis? Is there somebody at your school or in your office who is down or in despair or going through a crisis? Take them a casserole. Find some kind of role that will let you engage what you have and what you can do and what you know to make a real difference in the lives of somebody else. Practice random acts of kindness and hospitality. But and know that we are called to do more than that. Around here, we practice strategic acts of kindness and gratuitous hospitality. A week from now, after this very service, we'll have an auction over in the gym, a youth auction. We're not auctioning the youth. We're raising money. Some of them we might auction. But the goal is to raise money for missions and for ministry for the youth. And the truth is, the largest part of the money that we raise this time is going to send a group of our high school students to Lima, Peru, to our ministry there, Operation San Andres. OSA is located in a community in the northwest corner of Lima, Peru. It's a community of 100,000 people, almost all of whom live on less than $2 a day. Just let that sink in for a minute. A community of 100,000 men and women and teenagers and children, almost all of whom live on less than $2 a day. We can't fix all the problems there. But I want you to know, we are making a real and measurable difference in that whole community. Not just through the 180 kids that we feed year-round, not just through the 60 kids that we offer after-school programming and Bible study and self-education for, not just for the folks who come to the medical clinic or the dental clinic or the folks who are in the vacation Bible school or who live in homes that we've built. There is a spiritual transformation going along with a medical and interpersonal transformation. It is a work of strategic kindness and gratuitous hospitality. We're shy in worship this morning because we still have folks who are in Eagle Pass. That mission trip has been a year in the making. We sent people on scout trips. We worked with our partners, both with Buckner and the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship, and we discerned what is the work that we need to do for construction. How can we do Vacation Bible School? What is it that we can do there? And after a year of planning and organizing and making things ready, we sent off 50 people for a plan of strategic kindness and gratuitous hospitality. Bill and Michelle have invested their lives in churches, in pastors, in making a real difference, not just in a place, but in an entire province in China. Bringing the professional gifts that they have to make a strategic difference, a strategic kindness and gratuitous hospitality. It takes us 6 months to write the ministry budget of this church. It is an exercise in praying and planning in that order. And asking God, what is it that you want us to do together in your name? How are we to make a kingdom impact for you? And every time you give to the budget of the church, that is a strategic kindness, a gratuitous hospitality that makes a difference. We're called to be people who take what we know and what we have and what we can do and make a difference in the lives of others. Hear me when I tell you that mercy begins in giving to the helpless. But there are more than just the helpless who need mercy. And in fact, the helpless are the easier category for me. Because oftentimes, people are helpless through no fault of their own. And even when it is their fault, it doesn't seem to matter so much because helping them satisfies our need to be needed and at least my desire to fix it. But Jesus says, in addition to giving to the helpless, we must engage in forgiving the hurtful if we're to be merciful. The hurtful are people who have done terrible things to us, to our children, to the church, to our institutions, to our society. The hurtful are those people who have brought hurt and not help into the world around them. And we're to be forgiving of the hurtful. And that's a hard one for me because I'm quick to play the judge and I want them to get what they deserve, and I generally know what that looks like. And I don't think I'm alone in that. My parents live in Brazoria County, and my dad was called to jury duty. It was apparently a fairly violent crime that was going to be tried. There was a pool of 75 jurors. And during the voir dire part of the trial, the prosecutor, and this I thought was remarkably wise seed planting, said to the pool, I'm going to ask you a question that you have to answer in one of 3 ways, so listen carefully. If you were selected to be on this jury pool, and if you pay careful attention to the evidence, and you convict as guilty the defendant in this case, and you find yourself in the sentencing phase, would you sentence someone who had committed a heinous crime in order to, number 1, punish the action that they performed? Or would you, number 2, convict someone who'd committed a heinous crime to send a deterrent message to the broader society that we don't tolerate this, the kind of punishment that deters other people from even thinking about the act because the consequences are too great? Or would you, number 3, sentence someone who had committed a heinous crime based on a desire to rehabilitate that person? What would you do? I can tell you that in a jury pool of 75 people, 3 said they would choose a sentence based on a desire to rehabilitate the person. And all 3 were stricken by the prosecution. Mercy is a more creative response to evil than is retaliation. Our justice tends to ask questions about the past. Based on what is, what should we do right now? Mercy asks the future question.